Well, I just watched the latest Doomcock video titled Rise of Skywalker Review Why Lucasfilm Killed Star Wars. This guy is something else. This guy's amazing. I mean, he just chooses to see things the way he wants to see it while claiming to be a Star Wars fan. It blows my mind. So let me quickly, I don't want to make this a long video. This is going to be a new section of This Is the Way. It's going to be a section called Answering Doomcock. Okay, that was the title of my very first podcast episode here on YouTube. But from now on, I'm just going to have small clips where I answer this guy because he can go on and on and on. But he addressed two major things in his latest video that he posted today, December 26, 2019. Victor Van Doomcock. These are his two complaints. Disney ruined or messed up or screwed around with the Force, and Rey is a Mary Sue because of it. This guy, Mary Sue, is one of his favorite words to use. He goes on and on, Mary Sue, Mary Sue, Mary Sue. And this is why Rey is a Mary Sue. These are his two main reasons. Number one, they allowed her to use new Force abilities that nobody in the Star Wars universe has ever used before, and that ruins it. Number one, Force healing. They brought Force healing into this and has ruined the saga because Luke could have healed Vader, and Ben could have healed Qui-Gon, and Anakin could have been secure in his thoughts of Padme because if anything ever happened to her, he could have healed her. Things like that. Look, I don't know why those things didn't happen, but it isn't because Rey was the first Force healer. No. Let's look at A New Hope, okay? Just Google Ben meets Luke Skywalker and go and watch that. And in the video I have posted on my Facebook page, Adam Palpatine, you can check that out. Look for my Facebook page. I have it posted. The actual name of the video is Ben Kenobi Appears, A New Hope, 1080p HD. Ben Kenobi Appears, A New Hope, 1080p HD. Go to that video, and at the 2-minute and 13-second mark, you will see Obi-Wan heal Luke Skywalker after his attack from Sand People, by Sand People. Luke comes out, he's in his land speeder looking for Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who he thinks are two different people at the time. And Sand People attack him, knock him down off of a high rock, hit him with one of their staffs, and the next thing we know, Ben appears, Obi-Wan, but Luke doesn't know that. Ben appears, runs them off, drags Luke to the side, bends down, places his hand on his forehead, and closes his eyes. And then tells R2, "Hello there," his famous line, and promises R2, tells R2, assures R2 that Luke is going to be fine. He heals him with the Force, folks. It's not new. So bye-bye, problem number one with supposed Mary Sue. His second problem is Force transportation. Now, I'll admit right off the bat, before I get into it, that is new. That is new, as far as I can tell, except for the extended universe, which the mighty Doomcock has deemed off limits because Disney pushed it away and said it's no longer canon, even though they are bringing parts of it back into canon as they choose. Hey, they bought it. It's their right to do what they want. Get over yourself. But okay, let's take a look at force transportation, where one Force user can transport something to another Force user through the Force. We saw it in the final battle, especially whenever Ben passed Rey, or no, Rey passed Ben, her lightsaber, through the Force so he could fight off the Knights of Ren that were coming after him. Okay? That power is new to the movies, but the reason these two have this power, and it's not just Rey, Ben has it too. We can't forget that. Just because you don't like Rey and you like Ben, you just gloss over the fact that Ben can do it too, and that maybe he's the bestest ever. I'm not going to do a Jar Jar voice because that's just immature and ridiculous, just like these videos are of Doomcocks, just like the name is. Give me a break. I have people who ask me not to share his name on forums and sites I visit because of it's vulgar. How ridiculous is that? But anyway, I digress. These two first discovered this power whenever Rey was on Ahch-To, communicating through touch. Remember that? She was in the building, the little hut, what have you, in Ahch-To, and I think Ben was on his ship, I believe. I could be wrong about that. And they're talking to each other, and as they talk, they get closer and closer, till eventually they reach out and touch each other's hands. And Luke bursts into the room screaming, "No!" even causing part of the room to collapse or the vision to collapse or something, and it goes away. But after that happens, you'll recall Ben looking at his hand and being like, and her looking, and Rey looking at her hand, and both of them realizing something is up here. That's when they discovered that they could physically communicate in some way through the Force, and it blew both of their minds. It was a new power that they discovered. Now, it wasn't written in there so Rey could be the best ever. It was written in there because Ben and Rey had a special connection that Palpatine pointed out hasn't been seen in centuries. So that means, even though it hasn't been on the movie screen, that Palpatine has recognized and admitted into canon that this power, that this special touch, that this special connection that these two have, has been seen before, but it's been hundreds of years, because that's what centuries would be. Hundreds of years. So, look. Calling Rey a Mary Sue is simply your anger at her being a woman and new to the series. If this would have been flipped, and this is where my real disgust comes in, if this story would have been flipped where Ben Solo would have been the good guy from the beginning, he never turned, he was the good guy, and Rey was the bad guy who he turned. You know, he turned the Emperor's granddaughter to the light side of the Force. I wouldn't have minded that story. It wouldn't have bothered me in the least. But if that would have been the story, 90% of you crybabies would get over it, and you'd be celebrating these movies. I almost know it. I've had someone tell me that that isn't true, but I just don't believe that. Because here in Doomcock's latest video, all he says is it's all about Rey, it's all about Rey, it's all about Rey. He may say it a fourth time. This is what this guy's so angry about, that this movie's all about Rey, who takes the Skywalker name and gets the Tatooine sunset at the end of the film. Well, as a guy who has an adopted daughter, I appreciate that. I would absolutely love, cherish, and adore if she accomplished more than I ever do. Now, I know Luke didn't officially adopt her, but kind of close as you can get, I would think. Luke, or Leia, at least, they both clearly loved her and had no objection to her. And how much joy would I get joy out of taking an enemy's child or granddaughter and bringing them into my home because they rejected my enemy, and them taking my name over my enemy's name? And would I object to that girl then growing up and taking everything I've ever done and being better at it? Wouldn't bother me at all. I would be extremely proud. And I really don't see the difference here, guys. I just don't see the difference. Here's this young girl who is related to the enemy, who is destined to become Empress Palpatine, but instead chose the Skywalkers. And with their aid, because she definitely had their aid, she went out and accomplished even bigger things than they did. You're only insulted about that because that isn't the fan fiction you had in your head. Get over yourselves, guys. It's a good story. Force healing was in A New Hope, and the Force transportation was only there because of the special bond Ben and Rey had, and it's recognized that others had it centuries ago. So you're wrong, Doomcock. What else is new? Take a deep breath, count to 10, maybe go follow another franchise, and leave this one to those of us who still embrace it for the goodness that it is.